turn to ban. Ten seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Ban. Virtus.Pro's turn to ban. Ten seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Dire team pick. Ten seconds remaining.
Game 1, match 2, and for these two teams, the first series they will play in the CIS DPC League. Welcome back. You are watching ESL 1, powered by Intel, and we are about ready to show you the draft of this first game. We've got Brian joining us on the big screen, and of course, Cap and Kyle are still with me as well. Brian, what are your initial thoughts on the series when you see these two teams match up against each other? Shut up, Kyle.
Don't even start, Kyle.
Honestly, like, when I see teams like this for the first time, it's been so long since real competitive matches that I just want to see what they bring to the table when it comes to drafting. What I want to see in drafting is that each team's picks respond to each other. And this is a perfect example. You got Bat Rider first pick. They immediately respond with pretty much the best support in the game against it. The Oracle for the save in lane, or the Purge in lane and the save later.
Okay, Kyle, now you can go.
That was very succinct. Thank you, Brian. Yeah, not a fan of first pick Bat. Haven't seen it win yet, except for the one game it did win for Alliance, but that was because, let's not get into it.
It did.
Bat Clock, I've always disliked as an opening, just because I've seen it so many times in NA, and you're very weak against heroes like Void Spirit, Illusion Cores, because you just don't clear illusions very well. Heroes like Ember Spirit, Void Spirit with built-in escapes. What are you giggling about?
What is wrong with you? What is it, the presence of BSJ? You're just like, I see it in NA, so it must suck. You know what, Kyle? You had your thing about Witch Doctor, like, hey, you know, guys say, oh, they played OD in NA, that's how you know it's bad. And then you're like, oh, Witch Doctor, Southeast Asia, oh, you guys are so good. Yes, 85% win rate, oh my God. And you know what's happening in North America? You know what's happening in North America? They're also picking Witch Doctor, and they also have an 85% win rate in NA.
Cap, I'll make you a deal right now. If there's a team other than EG that makes it into the top 12 of a major, I will... Actually, Quincy Crew might. Let's not get into this.
I was immediately going to take this bet. I didn't care what the odds were.
Relax for a second. We got No One, we got Ramses, we got Sumail, all unable to even make it into the Division 2 because of the whole roster thing. Keep in mind, that's the point I was making. Damn it. Oh, then in NA, you've got Sad Boys invited into Division 1. Literally just a group of ex-retired NA Dota stars that won tournaments 5 years ago. They're still in the top 4 of NA, apparently.
5 years ago?
TI5 was 5 years ago.
Yeah, Peter was doing well on Ninjas of Pajamas. Long after that.
That was literally 2 years ago.
Yes. 2 years is less than 5 years. That's
so, I mean, and you imagine if Cinder came out of retirement. He's not getting an invite, huh?
No. He's been playing quite a few years after TI, for sure.
Right. Your comparisons are terrible, Kyle. BSJ, please save this panel.
Hi, I was just waiting for maybe another pick, so I had something to drown out Kyle, but I actually don't really like the Clockwork either. I actually agree with Kyle here. I like usually like an Earth Spirit or like an Earth Shaker. Because a lot of heroes, you want them to counter each other's counters, right? And whenever you open with two heroes like this, and I'm just like, yep, those two heroes can't kill Void Spirit very easily. They'll definitely have to pick another hero to respond to the Void Spirit. That is how you kind of get behind in a draft.
Overlapping, right? Trying to do too much with just your first two picks of trying to focus too much on one aspect. In this case, they've got tons of initiation, but they are going to have some problems with
Very insightful.
bans, Kyle. I'm literally just trying to buy some time for these bans to come through. Unless you want to analyze these bans, Viper, Mars, Bloodseeker, go for it.
The second phase bans are just. I'm not even. I don't really know what to do. Drop. You know?
Yeah, I know. I see you like literally black out for like 2 minutes.
Well, it's a minimum of 3 minutes most of the time. Sometimes it's up to 5, and ultimately you don't really see the ban's purpose until you see the picks that come out. Right?
You can only speculate.
But that's speculating. You know, we're not paid to speculate. We're here to present cold, hard facts.
You're here to analyze, and if you analyze the bans, you know
That is
Lion.
That is odd into a clockwork, first of all, but it also makes this VP lineup very susceptible to an illusion core like PL Naga. And you're really squishy. Like, I would love a Furion as an example for Empire, 4th pick, but I'm also biased and think that Heroes bust.
Is there any kind of curveball you can throw with Lion? Because Lion, like, has just not seen a lot of success anywhere. Right? It's nowhere. It's the flavor of the month at all. We saw all the different regions this morning, or this afternoon rather, with the heroes that were picked in all the different regions.
Listen, Shard. Sorry. Listen, Cheever.
Shirt too.
Apologies. Listen, Cheever. Eventually, they'll buff that Shard up enough, the Aghanim Shard for Lion, that he'll finally be a viable hero.
So this is just Virtus.Pro. It's like, okay, let's pick Lion to show how terrible it is, so that it'll get buffed.
Grimstroke's quite nice. You have a PKB piercing ultimate that's also single target in the Bat Rider, but you're also going to be able to leash through Oracle Cleanse, which is really important against a hero like Void Spirit. It's guaranteed lockdown if you land the leash.
Yeah, they picked Tide as like a frontliner. They go pretty much all in on the stuns for Team Empire. So it's always nice to pick that beefy boy that kind of just dangles, right, Kyle?
Oh yeah, it's all about the dangle. Makes it much easier for the rest of your team to inevitably tangle.
Yeah, but you can still reel in that big fish thanks to the fact that you've got a disable that can last through the Kraken shell. I knew both of you guys were going to crack up at that one. Because you got the Grimstroke silence that Tidehunter can't just like take off. So I actually, like, I know they looked at it and they're just like, okay, this is good kind of no matter what.
I'd be lying if I said I didn't like that Tide pick. Shuts down the Furion. And it's very formidable. Consider you're playing against the Bat. You've got that team fight. The concern I have with the Empire Tricore right now is there's not enough damage.
Not enough damage. You're still there, Brian. You're good?
Yeah, these are the moments where I kind of wish I could see Kyle's, like, you know, stupid face right now, but I think it's still pretty funny, even though I can't. And they go for the lane counter and lane synergy with the Grimstroke. Makes a lot of sense. Jug loves playing against Tidehunter. It's pretty much impossible to not spin the Ravage unless he blinks right on top of you. And then the Grimstroke Inkswell really amps up the spin damage in lane. Yeah, I like this pick a lot. I think the only issue I still have is you have Void Spirit who needs to get leashed pretty much. And then they're probably going to pick like an elusive core that's good, that doesn't get Omni Slash. And then it's also hard to stun.
Yep. And I'll actually disagree with Brent. I don't like the Jug because you have really limited sustained damage. You're playing against a Void Spirit that can just dissimulate your ultimate. Lion is very good against Jug. Like, sure, you could spin him, but he has a lot of lockdown. And in addition, Oracle can just save whoever gets Omni'd or prevent all damage from spin. And I'm just not a fan of Jug in a game I don't have sustained DPS. So whatever they pick for mid has got to do real damage. And if it's a Bat mid, I'm just afraid. Because a Bat 2 playing against a Tide Oracle just feels like a...
10 seconds
It seems like they are very laning folk. Choice of the Jug.
5 seconds remaining.
Because there are plenty of combos they could have done with Grimstroke, but they would have suffered.
But note, all members of VP except for Nightfall are in the same guild. Perhaps they're having some internal issues.
Or not. Or there is no extra... Like, if you're going to analyze anything on the screen, that would not be it.
Pirates, and none of them are a part of the same guild.
Yeah, that would be more worrisome. if you were to analyze any kind of guild action.
Virtus.Pro's
We got a
turn
Morphling
to
banned out by Team Empire last. They are assuming that the Void Spirit will be played by GPK, and he has, of course, played that quite a bit.
Dude, it is, again, such an awesome bristle back. Nobody believes.
Dire team pick.
Really love it. They banned the Prophet. I don't think they would have picked it, but that's the type of hero that Empire needs. Something that accelerates the game state. You know, they want to be threatening towers and Roche 5 to 10 minutes earlier than usual, because late game, it's going to become progressively more and more difficult for them to take fights
10
as the
seconds
VP
remaining.
lineup in just terms of raw DPS output scales much better.
Virtus.Pro's turn to pick.
And there it is, the Pugna. Does that apply enough pressure? Is that good enough?
Pugna Grimstroke's pretty sick. That's the OG special right there. You silence and then decrep on both targets. They can't kill the spirit. Or what is it? The Rend?
The Phantom, I think.
Phantom.
5 seconds remaining.
But yeah, that's an interesting one. It certainly gives them, like, now they've got this like big team fight with the Juggernaut, who's kind of this early game with the spin mixed with the healing ward. They're going to be able to siege down towers pretty nicely. Comboed with the fact that they had this opener of Batrider Clock, it feels like maybe they had some of the planned all along, that they were going to go for a pretty fast-paced lineup that looks to take a lot of map control early. And they led with two heroes that are really good at just getting pickoffs on.
Now you hit them with the PL. And you call it a day.
Yeah, that sounds about right. Yeah.
Or the King.
The King.
I would have
Particularly like Wraith King that much here.
Yeah,
but
me
it's
neither.
obviously a good hero.
I would have much preferred just PL, just some illusion core, and run it to Pugna. This is an offlane Pugna, by the way, and it looks like a mid bat.
Final thoughts on the draft, Brian? What do you think?
I think Virtus.Pro's game plan is easier to execute. It would have been a little bit harder for Wraith King to do his job if he didn't have an Oracle, but I think because of that, he'll be enabled enough to carry this game.
All right, thank you so much. We'll come back to you after the game. Kyle, what are you thinking?
I just don't know about this first pick bat mid. It's such a hard game for you. The laning phase has to be near flawless. You're playing against an Oracle. It's just don't like bat first pick. Don't first pick your mid hero when it's such a volatile matchup based selection. I like Virtus.Pro's lineup, and to win this game, you're going to need to really pump the tempo as Empire.
Come on, Kyle, isn't this the one time to like really believe in the team you already have some faith in, right? They've got a lineup that is going to be like, they pick something that where they could try lanes early, take some early towers against a team that is more experienced and better than them. They want to take advantage right away. Isn't that a good reason to believe in Empire right now?
The last time I saw a team pick Batbog first, IX Mike and Fluff and stuff. Guess how that game went.
Pretty convincing argument. I too will be going, bro, because they're a good team. Nothing to do with Kyle's analysis, don't worry.
All right, well, we're going to find out what this first game is going to bring us, and we're going to find out together with OD Pixel and Purge.
Thank you very much. Game one ready to go between VP Empire Purge. We've seen the lineups, we've heard what the panel has to say, liking what VP does have, but do you see something that could work quite nicely for Empire's heroes here?
I agree. I'm a little unsure about Empire's heroes. To go with the Pugna offlane, which is
Tied to our
well against Wraith King, and
tied to our advantage.
Pugna plus block in the offlane, really good. But I kind of like Tide versus Jug. Generally, you can test a lot of his last hits. Killed a lot in the first couple levels. So as a whole, I think the only weak side is that line is poor compared to typical hero. So yeah, I would agree that VP.
Yeah, and for VP as well, getting the all-powerful carry of the meta through as the final pick. Did that sort of surprise you here, or do you think Empire did consider that it was still in the pool and that they feel that they do have heroes to deal with the Wraith?
I mean, we haven't seen Wraithing much in the last 2 days, but we saw it a ton of. So it surprised me a bit that it kind of popped up once again. But it is still very effective at laning, pressured very much compared to most heroes, and it should be semi against like Pugna.
See if we have any moves from setups in the lanes.
Begins.
And how Say coming up to take the bouncer rune away from him. He's going to be able to grab it. So 3 runes to start for Empire.
It's a little expensive. A lot of his reach.
The next label play.
Good luck getting in lane time soon.
Oh, and well, he might just die here. It's safe. He's able to hit another stun. They're actually going to be able to get the kill. So 3 runes going the way of Empire, but VP able to find that first blood with the excellent sort of chase and catch those 2 heroes have together at level 1.
Oracle heads back to the bot lane. On the bright side for Clock, at least he's going to have full HP and still have his item. Not the worst, but obviously very good. Not good that Oracle's going to faster boots.
Interesting to see how this mid matchup's going to go down. GPK definitely the more well-known of the players here in this matchup, and sort of as it goes with the heroes, Void Spirit versus Bat. How do you sort of expect this lane to go down?
Void Spirit's definitely going to be able to get last hits with a couple levels, but barrier once Bat Rider picks 4, then Void Spirit has to be ready to use this. But a worst case scenario, he gets go ganking on the map, but Bat Rider cannot. But they both have options, and I don't really expect GPK. He's a very, very good.
Yeah, and in terms of the side lanes, where is the feeding the most likely to happen? Like when you sort of look at the setups, who's in the scariest position the soonest in this sort of game?
How to get me to do the observers? Let's see. Fine has to be a little careful. I think Grimstroke is most to get killed in this. I think the dual offlane for Empire, the Pugna plus Clockwork, unless they catch Oracle by himself, I don't really see happening in your Wraith King's. So I guess the Radiant offlane and the Dire safe lane, most likely where we see kills, but obviously the Void Spirit Bat Rider could go bad. There are good plays.
Yeah, and in terms of sort of how both teams are going to be able to take objectives, I mean, I imagine, you know, with the lineups that they do have, it's a little easier for Empire, right? With sort of this Pugna, you know, having the jug for the healing ward, sort of this ability to group up and take objectives. Whereas VP, they don't necessarily have the best tower hits as well.
Yeah, that's a good point. Wraith King obviously is very good at pressuring the map, even if he's not there with his skeletons. But because their opponents have decent tower hitters, good tower pressure, they've got really good lane push, and they also have a Bat Rider, which is harder to defend these towers. It absolutely should be a little easier. The opposite side, they're still gonna have an Oracle sitting tower pushers. Tide is not gonna have to worry too much about initiation, so they've got good things going.
Yeah, and I guess that's sort of the strengths that VP do have. Having heroes as that Tide and the Oracle, you know, they've got plenty of ways to set up, you know, just having Tide come in, just stand in front of a tower and having split back to make sure that they don't allow Empire to get with any of the early objectives when Empire do start to group up the action. CIS for the moment across the lanes. VP coming out slightly ahead every single bit. The mid lane in particular being the one where there is the biggest difference. GPK coming out solidly on 19-6 against the 13-1 on this Black Bat as bottom. Attempt on to Shura, but time with the Pogs be able to provide good safety. Kingslayer and Nightfall really close the gap on Pugna at the moment, and not that I'd be too concerned. Continue to focus on the creeps and spend any time chasing for kills as still standard. Top CS at the moment.
The nicest thing about having a Clockwork with the who normally can just get ran at, but the past cogs is just GPK with this nice a lot more base damage than Bat Rider, so test last hits, but also use Resonant Pulse. There are other ones. Been pretty ready to save in a skill point as well in case he needs to stay alive from a go from Bat Rider. So far, having a really
I guess when it sort of comes to the mid, it's like they're either side. Do they sort of have mobile supports? Because for the first part, I mean, just say it's sort of come over towards the mid lane, but he didn't continue to chase in and actually go for any action. Could either team sort of make any rotations to sort of break this bit of stalemate we're having earlier? You know, 5 minutes in, only one kill, and that one kill, of course, being before the creeps had even spawned. No actual sort of hunting happening yet in this.
Right, rotations are a little hard. Clockwork made to check rune, of course, and does big top and that line and go.
Yeah, that's the combo. Gonna be a bit all very strong at this early stage with the Inkswell and the Blade Fury. Empire having very solid of getting in on top of them. And in these positions where you're going to find a little too out of position, trying to hold that area and set up for the party room wasn't to be the case. We'll finally break the peace and quiet that we have had for the last 5 minutes.
Things are a bit tough stroke in line for both. And they will back up, and they should be able to pretty easily get these last hits under 2 hours. Don't see any stacks yet for Tide, so he's going to lane to try to limit Jug's farm to where you have an advantage, where his mana is low. So you can just contest every last hit you want to go through by luring hard for go ahead.
See a bit of attention around that, especially around the 6-minute point of the setup. Two support moving in perfectly there,
really
synchronized, yeah, from both sides, just pinching in and knocking down.
And the fact that he Aether ran in the middle of a creep wave, not bad exposure to that. If he doesn't land that disable, it's a little bit harder to grab to take an Oracle throwing Fortune's End, blind falling up, but in that J. The Dire Wards, they did have that spot in mid, so might have the line, but certainly he gets out of that if this is really well done.
Top lane, trying to turn the track onto DMA with the Blade Fury Inkswell, but a TP is into late straight away. DPK is around the action. They know as soon as Smiling Knight uses the Blade Fury aggressively, yeah, GPK's there immediately. He knows that's an easy kill for him to.
Really cool itemization on the Knight as well. Got a bracer, like also got a really fast cloak. He knows that his kill threats are magic. Jug spin, Inkswell, Grimstroke nukes. That is going to allow him to survive through this. That's why they're ready to. Really smart, fast item pickup.
Be interesting to see sort of what Smiling Knight does after that series of events. It just goes to show that he can kind of never really play aggressive at top lane with the Blade Fury if they're not 100% sure that GPK hasn't got his TP up and is going to be able to react. He's definitely going to have to play a lot safer now in this top and unable to continue to try for action with that Blade Fury combo that the levels are up on VP heroes.
Scary. But they go in line, but against Tide, not much mana on Tide, though, cannot do a Ravage, but be very pleased to take away from Stroke, trying to stabilize him, but it's the danger. Because Tide is pretty safe, it's going to allow line to roam. Maybe go on mid.
Starting towards Quinn. Gonna have to set up their Remnant into the Rune, of course, save. He's still got a stun to go. GPK, the DD Rune, and they've certainly got the damage to take down Gwyn. It's 8 minutes in, 4-1, into a 2-3K already here for VP as they're off to a very hot start. And GPK in particular, is he's on track to have a very quick Orchid on the mid-void spirit.
So effective, and this is partially because they have support that can sit in these lanes. They don't necessarily need to always be there. And as a result, it produces kills on the back. The guy that's to create action on the Empire side. That rider, who's going to do it later? Pogan can sometimes do this. It's Aether. It's like Void Spirit, even Wraith, who have escaped. It's not looking good for Empire. If the bat's going to get off to a really.
For sure, Gwynny. If he sort of goes down another time in this lane, it's going to be a very hard game for him to recover. We'll see how safe he does want to play. He's 1,300 to the recipe for his bots. He certainly going to do his best to get that done before he finds himself in any sort of action that the VP have been doing a good job at bringing towards him so far. Of course, this is all giving space for Nightfall down bottom, 2,200 gold looking towards the relic, looking to hit a solid timing. Unless Empire is able to make some sort of and coming down here together, but it feels like it's going to be hard for these three heroes to really kill Nightfall, especially with this reincarnation up and the likelihood that VP, they will react if they do come searching for the Wraith King.
Dire's top tower is under attack.
Not that the ward did it, but they're going to sit around pressuring. The tower gives us to do, but after this Orchid comes out, I think it's really dangerous for our side, especially if you get Void Spirit on top of Juggernaut. Get us off before he does any skills. That's probably the biggest way to get destroyed in this game.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, with the Jug, be a long way from having any sort of dispel. is going for the standard that bad of up, but will leave incredibly vulnerable stat. That sort of target size that GPK is going to have, especially when you consider his lineup, his team around him. Nobody's really got any sort of saves. Sure, a defense Decrepify could be offered. I like that VP don't have good magical burst save. Once he's hit the 6, you're going to get blown up sometimes if the fingers are up and a Decrepify has been used in an attempt to keep him safe.
Yep. And line levels are a little bit behind. He's just a little bit over 5 at the 10 minutes. Even Oracle that ulti with the tone, which is important to help offset and make sure the GP can die in a moment like that.
I can get hit. They really need to make a bit with the smoke. TP's already coming in from half the numbers in their this action. Who's going to start off surprise with the Phantom Embrace, but GPK here actually just straight across. Into the middle of all the action, the 4 heroes standing. Now, on a member, they've got to be careful. They're laying down the clocks, trying to get out, but GPK is able to close them with the dissimulate, blows up another. I mean, DM, he's actually going to have to enjoy quite a bit of time on the clip. He's up there for a full minute purge.
Yeah, that's very good. Too early for a first step from now too.
I mean, this is sort of the handicap that was needed. You know, Empire, they might not have killed anyone, but Tide is on the cliff for a minute. It's got to be worth something.
Middle tower is under attack.
The downside is you're still up 3k net worth on the VP side. I kind of feel like they could kill the Bat Rider line into text to grab the upwork, but Clockwork wasn't yet, so on high, it may be better to secure the Bat kill, but they still have Finger of Death ready to go, and that's why they're smoking and going for a kill. They got Orchid too. Anybody in the game dies this, except for maybe like a Tide Hunter type hero. Certainly everybody on Empire side got to be scared.
And they might not, you don't expect this when the Tide's on the cliff. Now the question, can Empire set up to, do you try and keep this Tide up here? Can you sort of prepare for a minute when he is going to have the TP pick up? Well, they won't be able to do so as DM. He's going to have the TP back up now, so he will finally manage to leave the solitude of the player. Meanwhile, over in the jungle, Empire save out alone. Empire won't be able to take down that Lion. No trouble at all.
This is the issue with Lion. It's you have tons of disable, but your movement speed is definitely way below average, and you are very squishy. But you have really powerful abilities to compensate for that. So a normal 4 might be able to get out of that kind of game by standing in position. Cannot. And the problem is he can't stand behind his team on the other side of the river, because if he is, then he's not in a position to use his important disable. So you kind of have to put yourself in these dangerous areas when you play a Lion like. But on the bright side, Tide is back. His opponents did not know that he was up there, so eventually get back into farming. And his net worth still sitting fine, but definitely cost him a couple hundred worth.
Oh yeah, for sure, absolutely. Knocked him down a little bit. Of course, for him and the team, not too many worries on VP, as GPK and Nightfall just continue to hit on these items. Nightfall Radiance is going to be done within the minute.
So fast. Actually, incredible speed. So Radiance for him. Void Spirit's also top net worth with the Orchid. We haven't seen him getting a kill with it just yet, but importantly, this is behind Tide to pick up a blink. That's kind of what they needed at last by going mid though.
And Nightfall, it starts some action, starts to run down Pugna. TP's coming in.
Cool. Haven't seen mech that much lately. It ended up becoming a lot worse when it didn't provide armor auras. We saw a lot less as like typical offlane heroes, but this game, it's a nice way to take these squishy heroes and make them better against survivability. You get this armor aura with Buckler, you pick up Graves, now all the HP that he has is going to go farther and make him less of a vulnerability. He won't just stop instantly every initiation, as we just saw there.
A bit of a mid to top of getting in. Have Empire go towards DM top. Very tanky. Got a lot of heroes.
The perfect hammer though. Embrace does not remove get by cracking shell. So with that skill, reflect side to stop his death from coming.
Still going to see VP try and make a move despite losing the Tide as safe. Went behind Nightfall. Nightfall, of course, as we said, with this Radiance already done, ready to battle. They keep the pressure on this mid tower. Looks like Empire are just going to let this go. Not feeling confident that they can do anything right now to push back this approach from VP.
How they invade with that tier 1 head. really confident to move through, especially if they're already set up wards here. Void Spirit looking for any buff. If he spots him, he's going to go. So Grimshark's got to be careful. Grimshark also wants to fight potentially. Team rotate back over there. They got hook shot. They're a little low in mana for clock, but they'll be able to defend. Let's see if they can get the deal. This is a really important moment here when your opponents do leave your jungle like this, but I think the other ward is going to stay just out of that sentry ring.
Place. It looks like pretty much full duration out of it. VP. Oh, back over. I mean, again, Empire just sort of moving us forward, making sure that they are securing space for Jug to get Battle Fury done, and it is there. Like he's farming him. The pace of Nightfall's farm on the previous King mid lane jump onto the pod.
Oh my god.
No chance there.
So much damage. I mean, he had Greaves, so he got to remove it. The problem is that what do you got afterwards? They have tons of magic still, with the Oracle showing up in position. So even all the gives they want. They spot their opponents, they can initiate. That's all they need to do. Slow the game down. Does the Battle Fury, but his network is behind Wraith Kings. Generally, Wraith Kings are able to stay keep even in farms with Battle Fury type heroes due to all of the advantages you get from the skeletons. As long as VP keep the pressure up, they should be able to hold this advantage. But it will come down to later game stages. We're tied to having Blink Dagger. I don't really see their initiations being weak.
Down bottom, GPK. He's gone in aggressively onto Smiling Knight. A hook shot's going to be dodged very nicely by GPK. The haste rune is able to continue to run. Gwyn, he's looking for the lasso. Got to lock it down. The Oracle, so they'll get at least Kingslayer out of this. They won't be able to catch anything more as GPK is able to disengage. So it is something, but it's just a support.
Use the Shadow Amulet to be invisible, and what he was waiting for was a lasso. I'm not here, you guys can't see me, you can initiate on me, but then the random flame break that was meant for Void Spirit pushes him out of it, and he gets killed. It's pretty funny.
And Empire will get everyone out of this. Save still hanging around in the jungle whilst Empire continue to sweep across. And both supports taken out. And a little bit of distraction really as Nightfall continuing to get a lot of space in the top half of the map, already having the Sange done over the Radiance. Smiling Knight will come in to hold the defense, continuing to try and do his best to catch up with the Wraith King.
Empire's doing a great job though. I mean, considering the fact that Void Spirit had the Orchids so early, like he hasn't, since he got the Orchid, but it definitely feels like his impact has been underwhelming from what we expected.
No, for sure, yeah. Hasn't really been able to find Smiling Knight in a position where that early Orchid has really caused huge issues for the Jug. Smiling Knight consistently in positions, even when we did see PK make that move on him down bottom with the Orchid, where it was unlikely that anything other than the Void Spirit would have been able to get to him in time, and it was the case. Void Spirit alone just not quite doing enough damage as a solo hero to take this Jug from 100 to 0.
And most of the advantage that's coming from all these skirmishes towards, and if you look at the map, there's a stupid abundance of sentry wards for both sides. They know that vision is everything here between opponents like Batrider, Clock on the Radiant side. Obviously, Void Spirit's looking for any heroes he can find with Orchid. Tied with Blink now is obviously going to look for an initiation. So here's the replay of that gank. He did as much damage as he could through the Orchid, and he got him kind of low. But if not for this Observer Ward, he definitely dies. Maybe not definitely. Yeah, probably gets caught, lassoed for sure. In some ways, it would have been better if that happened, because then Oracle would have removed the lasso, and maybe that would have bought him time to get some return. But escape, for example. But either way, Virtus.Pro is continuing map pressure with their vision. They're going to definitely work at this tier 2 on the top lane. They've only got 1,000 HP left, and that's going to open up shrines and make it even harder for Empire to ever spend any time in their own jungle. And by proxy, then it gives VP this massive Rosh advantage, because then they've got both their towers close to Rosh up, and then they would control the shrine there. They could easily buy back and take fights there, and then all they need to do is maneuver Empire towards the bottom side of the map, and they can all go top. And so the game is still looking pretty good for VP with this gold advantage.
Now, the thing for Empire, they obviously do have some pretty cool combos to play around with. The soul bombs, the lassos. Is this sort of something that VP is going to be very scared of as a lineup, or do they have sufficient counterplays to that sort of combo Empire's going to try and bring to them?
probably deal with it is just to initiate first. If your opponents do find, there's a BKB on Batrider, so he's pretty protected against like a Ravage initiation. But if they can grab a Soulbind double lasso, yeah, it's going to be really bad for people. Only got one way to offset, and that's going to be like Blink Ravage or Oracle. So, but again, it's all about positioning.
Down bottom, quite.
Use duels that one.
Empire's going to be a bit careful. VP, they're sweeping right now. Seeing if they can catch them on retreat. Jump for the Ravage. It will clear onto the clock, but when quick with the BKB, out for the TP. So he might still be in a bit of trouble here, but it's got a hook shot. He's underneath the tower. And VP, they won't be able to chase any further. So a nice disengage there from Empire. Ravage down. Nobody losing any life really for it. Just a BKB charge down the drain. And Quinn's more than happy to spend that to keep himself alive.
Yeah, and actually, importantly, this wasn't the worst for VP. They should be able to get the tier 1 tower, and they got the tier 2 top already. They got the Shrine too, so no experience both from Shrine coming. VP gets map control, they're going to invade the Tri-Camp now.
Okay, he's straight up. He's going to be able to find the Yule setup. Phantom's is coming up, but he's able to dodge it with the display. They look to burst through the clock first. They'll be able to get him. Sayu goes down. Forcing back the rest of them. Smiling Knight can't really find a good target to commit it. The only so has to continue to hold it. And part of the rest of them out of there. Losing the clock on the front, but still it's continuing to just throw their advantage. DD rules spawning. He certainly could look to get something achieved with that.
DPK is doing such a good job leveraging his high net worth in such aggressive way. He jumped in, spots enemies, you know, looks like on him, he's relatively safe. He had duels. He's even got an essence ring as well, so his survivability is like massive at this point in the game. And because Bad didn't have BKB realistically, it's not going to be easy for him to initiate, and GPK crucially saved his work in that fight too, so that things got a little bit hairy after that initiation. He could always ideally prevent Barrett from going in, but they go. They're going to smoke and try to take this fight, knowing that
they can find the timing with the jump. When they can get in there, roll forward with the BKB and get a lasso. Could set something good up. VP Planet smart though. If they know that Empire's punching, they're back out of the pit.
Radiant's middle tower.
Well, so commit, they know even if they leave this area for sort of split back up, it's incredibly unlikely that Empire's lineup of heroes is able to get into the Roche pit and really take it themselves. VP can play relaxed.
It's not worth it until they have Ravage anyways. 20 seconds to go, then they'll have a better chance of that. They'll lose it one for sure, unless they initiate on Mugna right now. He's gonna blast this down. Well, mid tower will mean a little bit more map control for Empire, but still, net worth advantage is more and more towards VP. They have more threats on the map. The heroes are harder to kill generally. SNY finish now on King, just to reduce the amount of disable he's going to be hit with, either from decreps or from lassos. So definitely going to make it easier for him to avoid kited constantly.
Looking at sort of the way that the PK is continuing to spend his net worth, he shouldn't have the boots to travel done. And do you like sort of the fact that he's getting this rather early this game as the Void Spirit?
This game, especially because his opponent kind of limited disables, and as a result, like between Astral Step and a Yule, he should be able to avoid everything mostly, and having VOTs is going to allow him to just constantly outrun the guys with weaker disables like Pugna, or chase down heroes like Grimstroke who can't defend themselves well. So, and split push advantages too.
Jan, VP are going for it. They also look to make the jump over the day. They knew he was getting on the high ground for an opportunity to get him though. Blow him up quickly. Down. Now, just with the 4 of them. Be very hard to sort of get back over. Roshan down to half HP. Without clock, sort of just initiator right now. Really too much Empire could do about this, and they're just going to split up, try and take what they can from the map, whilst they have no intention of actually trying to fight VP with their lockdown.
Yep, they wanted to for sure, but GPK once again leveraging the look at disables. He's being aggressive. His smoke break and just jumps, knowing that he's able to initiate somebody and probably survive afterwards. If they have better disables on the Empire side and can actually react to the Void Spirit, it would be a little scary for them to take that engagement. But everybody on VP reacts correctly. The smoke breaks, everybody leaves the pit, they get the 1 kill, then they finish Roche, and their opponents. So the farm advantage continues.
Just about to finish the Manta. I mean, as sort of the jug in this game, does things ever sort of get any better in matchups, or is it always going to be a hard game against a really thing that's sort of an item ahead of you?
It's definitely going to be hard for the obvious fact Omni Slash is like your big team fight skill, and he's got his ulti. So ideally, what you want to do is Omni Slash the backlines if possible. Like I'm talking the ports ideally, or to Omni Slash a guy that's so that way you can finish him off for that initiation. But it's going to come down to his teammates playing effectively, and the fact that he has to buy Manta afterwards is in the fact that his opponent's at Orchid. It's good disables to deal with him. So he's got a kind of dangerous game, especially once Save's got his Blink Dagger not line as well. So there's it's got to be very careful about spinning at the right time or initiating. I wouldn't be surprised. He's going to go Ags to allow him to jump in, but I don't think he may be Blink Dagger as well. He needs a way to be able to jump in, do damage without being disabled on the way in, either by Ravage or Save or the Void Screen. So it's a tough game for Jug this game for sure. I felt a little surprised when he ended up getting picked there in the 4th phase against the Tide.
Yeah, because so far he's been able to farm, you know, decently. Of course, nothing to the level of Nightfall, but other than that, he's not really been able to achieve too much. Not really seen any opportunities for him to get any early act with any of the Omni Slashes. To the point, I don't even know if he's used it at all really this game. It just hasn't happened
either. So it doesn't necessarily do amazing against Tide, at least once Tide picks up the cloak in lane and survives like he did. It doesn't do that great in the obviously he didn't know that the rate just makes the game really hard here for the Enterprise side to take engagements. Block on almost for gonna die from this.
Easy setup. Yet again, continues to have a pretty rough game. The clock, the 0-5-1. Hasn't been able to achieve too much at all, apart from just, I guess, dying for his team, but definitely nothing more than that this game.
He gave Pugna that was about that he's accomplished for sure. That Pugna did not get behind. Pugna's sitting 2-1 and 2, got Greaves, and he's got 8 points, but it's a little too hard for them to take engagements. The Clockwork 6 came pretty late, and later than they needed. They needed fights by Barrett had a below average game due to those nice ganks, so it's just all cascaded into VP having big.
He's starting to take a poke at the high and hit. We'll see. PK gonna head out towards top lane. Let's push that out. I want to try and go for the high ground siege. Yeah, still got 2 minutes left on the gauges to make moves.
Really early J picked up. Tired. I also love the pipe that he's picked up. His opponents, they have great, but it's all nukes, and they've done this a couple times. They're just piping skeletons while they hit buildings because it's going to make them get 100 more damage before they end up falling. So they've got great items to control. After 10k gold advantage on the VP side, while Empire struggles to get map control.
I mean, and it's as you said, that pipe. The thing is, even if Empire are able to get some sort of soulbind 2 mana, so I think I'm gonna have the damage to kill any of these heroes when locked down.
Yeah, it feels really hard now, especially like Pugna is all about dealing magic damage. Barry's really good against Decrepify because block the damage before it's amplified by anything. So pipe across the board is going to help counteract Pugna. It's definitely going to help Batrider the Omni Slash, while Jug is doing okay north. It's 5k behind the Wraith King now. So, and he's getting Ags afterwards, so he's really damaged with Battle Fury and stuff. Maybe he'll get a really good neutral item that'll help get his damage up, but not feeling it right now.
I'll see him step up straight away there as she'd be able to keep him alive. Maybe not. Final astral step. GPK just get the kill done. He turns over the walls. No, that'll be another start in with the little kid. No escape for too sure. VP just taking them what they want. As it's so hard for Empire to fight whilst they're down 12-5, 12k lead, and GPK, look at him just aggressively jumping up in space. He knows that he's not going to get money for this. The setup's there, having to follow up for DM, catches onto the 3 of them, they take down Gwynblind, Smiling Knight, trying to spit away with the Fury. He will make it out of there and away from this aggression of VP. VP more than happy to turn their attention towards the tier 3. They're going to be a little... But as low as he is, GPK Aegis is now expired, but as you can see, still full HP and full mana, of course, thanks to that Aegis generation.
Just playing is super safe. Ravage gets used. Batrider, fearing the chain stun came out that he didn't want to pop BKB after Yule's ended. If he did and it didn't go in, it just would have been awful for him, right? BKB's down, now we can't fight. Burn everything in some ways is better. They lose their hero, but their rack stays alive. But it's really just buying VP more time to control the whole map. and compound this net worth advantage that they have. So, game's still looking bad here.
That'll be a tough one. I mean, Empire, this lineup, when it comes to sort of defending the base, I guess, you know, if they can get sort of a lasso and get someone in nice deep under the pitfalls, there's an opportunity. But other than that, holding the high ground doesn't necessarily seem like their lineup's going to come into a sort of element at that point of the game.
This illusion just revealed their smoke. Empire playing on high octane, knowing they're behind. Use the Phantom's Embrace on an illusion without smoke being broken. And now they know. See if they get a good fight with this. A grab for 60, but can they grab the right person?
I mean, Gwyn's in with a BKB. He's looking for a target. He will finally manage to lasso the Oracle. It's coming out, but it's just not got the damage to back it up. They at least find one. They'll get Kingslayer, but now Smiling, he's got to get on the retreat. Nightfall DM, they're able to jump in, get themselves on top of the Bishra. Over towards Gwynblight, Smiling Knight, go Gwynblight. Able to find the pink in time. To outside. It's just another one. Yes, they're going down. P just so strong right now. 15k lead and just growing by the 1,000 every minute as it seems. It's a Abyssal Blade. It's going to be done very shortly for Nightfall.
They've been so good. I mean, it was arguably an okay initiation. I rather wanted to target the Merkle. If he does not, then his biggest counter, but had some vision issues there. And eventually does lasso him to get the kill, but basically everything, including Omni Slash to pick off that support. And Pug ends up getting worked down eventually too. So top fight there for Empire. And that was without Ravage, by the way. So it's only going to get worse from here, especially if their opponents initiate. So BP weathering the storm there. See if they get more picks. Nightfall is going to come here.
Quick jump.
That's Swift. That's Swift get a lot of confidence and Empire's ability to win this game.
I mean, that's a Swift slash into a Swift death. Smiling Light is gone, and we might be seeing the G's. Yeah, there we have it. There we have it. It's a rough one. It was anticipated to be a rather one-sided matchup. It's kind of looking to be that way as VP just cruising in this first game.
Yeah. The VP got the core matchups they wanted to. Their Wraith King had a pretty good lane matchup. Didn't necessarily have the best chance to get kills, but the Wraith King, off-lane tied, survived the early magic and pressure with a smart, fast cloak and bracer.
10 seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Virtus.Pro's turn to ban.
Game 2 is incoming, and will the ferocious polar bears, aka Virtus.Pro, do it again here in their first upper division series? Empire also in their first upper division series. They need to step it up. They need to come in with a better plan, because if they do the same thing as what they did in game 1, it is going to be a fast day for all of us here. I'm joined by Brian on the big screen. We have Kyle and Cap still here with me as well. And we are ready to jump into the draft of that second game. And I think, Kyle, is very simple. What you do not want to see, wait for it. There is no bad first pick. Because it's banned, you're safe.
Nice. And polar bear fact, they are one of only 2 animals that will stalk humans. They see us as prey. They're murderous. And that's just what VP was in that first.
10 seconds.
What's the other animal?
Guess.
I don't know. I imagine it's some underwater creature.
Nope.
Really? Lions?
Hippos!
Tigers.
Tigers it is.
Okay,
Cap, you get a gold
that's
star.
that's why you have the masks on the back of your head.
Yep.
The masks that make it look like you have eyes in the back of your
Tigers
head?
only attack from, they don't want you to see them. They attack from behind you. So this guy realized if you wore a mask on the back of your head, the tiger would get confused. He was actively stalked by tigers, but he didn't know how to attack him. So it didn't.
That's pretty good.
And that's what Empire's doing right now.
Yes.
Doesn't it work on polar bears?
Polar bears, no.
Polar bears don't care. Polar bears see you, you see them, and they're just like, what up?
If you exist, you are food.
We about to make this white area real red.
You know what I see already is like as terms of food? Crystal Maiden. Definitely generally food for a lot of people. What do you think of the opening so far, Brian?
I think the Monkey King into Phoenix is a bit questionable, but I think what they're going for is to get the favorable matchup against the Void Spirit. I imagine that they want to kind of follow the Void Spirit. If it's a 3 position, they'll make it carry. If it's a 2 position, they'll make it mid. So I'm kind of curious if Team Empire will maybe demote it to a 4 position, just to not make this Monkey King pick nearly as effective as it is intended to be.
Virtus.Pro's turn to ban. Dire team ban.
Sorry, I thought there was more.
That's it.
Yeah, kept it short and sweet.
Virtus.Pro's
Beautiful.
turn to
I know Cap's got his stopwatch out, so I gotta
You know, I was like thinking about it. I was like, I wonder if BSJ heard that at all. If he just immediately bounced after giving his spiel.
Yeah, I will say this Monkey King is fluctuating priority. A lot of teams are picking it up first too. I see it banned most often in second phase. It's like right on the fringe of, is it something you can't first do? I like it a lot when a team like OG does it, because they'll play it off lane as well. I think that makes the hero just way more formidable, just because you can abuse the laning matchup so much better.
I mean, I personally think Monkey King's kind of a broken hero.
Yeah,
I feel like he was good, and then they gave him an Aghanim Scepter. And now I feel like he's broken. And they also gave him a shard, which huge quality of life thing as well.
remaining.
So I don't know. I just not entirely sure this hero's good in lane. He rolls up to a point where it feels like he is able to do so many things with the Aghanim Scepter. Taking Roshan, taking buildings, all this team fight. I'm always okay with the team 1-2ing the king, because I just don't feel like there are many weaknesses.
Do you feel like you should be able to do something about the Ag statues? Because like consider clicks. Where you have an Ags, now you can have like the bonus army things out of Invis, but you can kill those. You can't do anything with stone monkeys.
I think they should at least go inert if Monkey King goes away. Just the statues on the ground and they're still beating on people, even though he's far away.
He's like, he's up in the tree. And
or like that also, he just tier 3 for a bit. He walks back his stat. Something like that.
Kev, I'm just gonna tell you, you're having a little Kyle moment here. The statues, they don't hit buildings unless Monkey King's within 400 range of them. So,
All right, 400 range is still enough for you to be down the hill and outside of tower range, and the statues can still.
And buildings, they hit heroes though, correct?
Yeah, they'll hit everything else. But he was saying that you leave them at the tier 3 and then walk away.
Well, you can't. You walk away 400 units.
Yeah, 400 units. Thank you.
Just a little bit less than 400 units, please.
I was actually wondering about how that mechanic worked. I was so confused. I'm like, why? I thought I was going to take that tier 2, tier 3, and then I had to go to wiki that one, so.
Typical BSJ, never knows his
I
mechanics.
think all the do all the statues disappear when he dies? I think they should all disappear when he dies.
Yeah, it works like that with Wukong's
ultimate,
command, right?
yeah.
Well, yeah, that makes sense to me. Good call.
I can see that. Good suggestion, Shiva.
Thank you.
It just I love Ags and what it does to I think it's the second most impactful item in terms of how it influences Dota 2's balance and meta next to BKB, but I feel like you should reconsider its power level. If a hard carry is rushing Ags, it means the hero concept it's just weird. I've seen literal first item Ags.
It's really strong.
Yeah.
Ags is not allowed to be strong. I only want to build Battle Fury on my carries.
Yeah. Invoker is an example. His Ags is amazing.
Isn't it nice though to be having the flexibility? You do have some carries that you go Ags burst on.
Virtus.Pro continuing this trend, and I've seen it a lot in China, where I was watching some of their drafts, and it felt like these team compositions were turning into these walls. Remember the strength-based core meta, where we were just having like the tankier the better sort of meta. I kind of feel like some of that when it comes to these team fights. I'm seeing like offlane Dragon Knight in China. I feel like this similar lineup here for Virtus.Pro in Game 1 and Game 2, where it's just hard to walk into these heroes of Wraith King, Tide Hunter, Monkey.
I totally agree, especially with all these items now that provide extra EHP, and the fact that just burst nowadays is really hard to execute. People are much more willing to use buybacks. I prefer to have the team that can make more mistakes. It's way harder to be caught out of position as a Tide Hunter than it is as an example. And the Lion Tide, like that's so much lockdown and burst potential already. You have a Monkey King. I already love the VP line.
I mean, they also locked it in like as fast as they could, right? After the banning phase, they knew exactly what they wanted. They go for the same 3-4 as they did in the previous game, and we saw what it could do then. We saw Lion work out. That was also our first Lion that we had, at least on the CIS region and the European upper division. First Lion, and it worked. Wraith King this time around, though, will not be on the docket because that got banned out by Team Empire as Virtus.Pro out the Venomancer. What does Empire need for their last pick? What do we want to see?
Viper, banned.
Banned.
Nyx is also banned. Are there any break mechanics left? I mean, Viper would be the best pick, but yeah, that's gone. They banned Stealth. That makes me very sad.
I think it's more about like the setup for team fights. I think right now they have Luna that needs space, they have Void who needs to make moves, and they don't really have like a hero that just sits in lane and the Void Spirit rotates to it. So I would like the Venomancer would have been perfect. That was my first idea, but it was banned out by Virtus.Pro. It's like a hero that's gonna synergize better in lane with Clock.
Bristleback.
Against Monkey King.
It's
funny because I thought about Bristle and I'm like, into Monkey, yeah.
You try lane.
No, it's Axe.
The Axe Phoenix combo. Okay.
But it's just there's so much pressure on the Luna to deal damage, and you're against Lion Tide. Like that's the concern I have. The VP lineup, if you ignore the rest of the lineup to all in one hero, you're not necessarily guaranteed to win a fight. Whereas if you kill the Luna, like, where is the damage from a Clock and an Axe?
We saw them previous games struggle with that damage. When they got the fight initiation they wanted, they couldn't finish it out because they didn't have the damage to do so. We got an Ursa pick as a last pick for Virtus.Pro. 10 heroes on the board, Brian. What are you thinking?
Favorable mid matchup for GPK. Much easier to execute team fight for VP, and I just don't see how they really play the map on the side of Team Empire. I said they needed a hero that like sits in lanes and allows the Void Spirit to rotate, and that Spear's the complete opposite of that to Pickaxe. He likes to play off map. He likes to be a ganker. They pretty much have a lot of the same thing again. I think there's a lot of overlap, and I'm not a fan of Team Empire's draft.
All right, thank you very much, Brian. We'll come back to you after the game. Kyle, what are you thinking? You and Team Empire as the underdogs, the wild card, the team that could create some upsets. This is the first series. How is your confidence in?
Starting to doubt myself. I think I may have been wrong again. I like what VP's got. I think that once again they're going to collapse on middle at BSJ. So it is a matchup already for GPK, and I think that the carry disparity as well. Luna can't do anything to an Ursa once he's got that BKB Abyssal up, and too much pressure on the core to deal damage with the side of Empire.
Cap, what needs to happen for Empire to have a good game?
I don't know. I'm pretty shook right now just because I was very certain Empire's game. I think they really need to be able to just roll forward off of this Axe Phoenix duo, be able to get really good Supernova around it that allows the Luna to feel confident about running into these team fights. And I was sure they were going to lose, but then Kyle said, I think I'm be wrong, which I feel is kind of a paradox, is Kyle's always wrong, and then he thinks he might be wrong, so that now I'm a little bit confused, but still going to go Virtus.Pro.
All right, well, let's find out what's going to happen here in the second game. Can Empire put up better performance? We're going to find out with OD. So hard.
To hell with you.
Let's find out indeed, Purge. I mean, looking at these lineups compared to game one, do you consider Empire's chances a bit better here, or do you think this one's going to be even more difficult?
I think they're going to be better than last game. The core match were just really, really solid for Virtus.Pro's advantage. They're still decent. Having Ursa against Axe-type heroes can be very good. Obviously, if you can get some early kills and actively zone him on a lane, he's going to have a really bad time. But with the same vein, we've seen saw Ursa's get pressured yesterday, which is pretty effective. So I have some faith. If Void Spirit has an okay laning stage, if he doesn't get ganked again successfully by like the lane plus support duo for Kingslayer's plan, maybe he can be a guy that pressures the Ursa really heavily and buys them more time in the. So I think seeing how they react to the likely rotations from the supports is going to be one of the cool differences that we might see this. And defending their safe lane bounty runes is not super common here.
Real poke on, just take the rune and chase down. Yeah.
We'll turn this time to our advantage.
That's some of the cores here. The Luna from Empire. I mean, we've seen some other teams try the Luna. It doesn't have seemed to really be with great success in most of the games that we've covered here in the CIS. What are your opinions on the hero right now, and why are we seeing teams go for the Luna?
Yeah, I've played her a little bit, so I feel semi-comfortable that she can have. Her laning is a little vulnerable, but it's okay offensively. Like you give your ally a lot of damage, but it being a clockwork shows to me that she's just going to try to get as much farm as possible. I don't expect her to get kills, and in that sense, she's a little vulnerable to here like Lion, because between Lion and Tide, they should be able to kill her if clockwork big mistake. So, I mean, she's really fast, but it's fast in the sense that she applies a lot of magic damage with Eclipse, but it's a little hard to use it compared to some other carries. So I'm not 100% that it's going to work.
Come on. He's able to achieve this game. See mid. And obviously last game, GPK had an excellent start to the game to those early rotations. And do you think that we're going to see a similar here as GPK sort of got the start to give him that good beginning again? Yeah,
I assume that we will see rotations again, but it all comes down to like with wards that spot them rotating over. In both cases, when they get mid last game, they neither support smoke never as they approach, so they should be able to identify that, and if they can, it's going to buy more time for the supports to get levels and then get the clock online a little bit faster. You might otherwise have trouble. So far, Monkey doing pretty good. 9-5 versus the 2 of Void Spirit is not a great matchup here for Void if he keeps getting slapped like this.
Sure, it's not really one that gets any better, right? I mean, I guess when he's got a couple of points to press the pulse, it's a little easier to secure some CS with that, but he's going to have a lot denied from him by this Monkey in the mid.
He's just doing such a good job here. Contesting every last hit, basically. Running at his opponent when his opponent wants to go for range creeps, that kind of thing makes it very tough to play. double wave here. 2.5, almost. Around top lane. Tide gonna get in there for smash. Only Knight to have to deal with a melee hero against anchors. You just gotta sit back. This.
So far, able to do so here on the lip. Struggles for Smart Knight when it comes to the farm. I'm going to see. Trying to do his best to look at the end, but Tide being tied. Yeah, not really caring too much about that at all.
Just got to be sad about that though, because before he went for the range creep and he secure it, he just managed Clockwork 5 with no mana is actually. He's got high raw HP, his damage is okay, but his armor's low. So any other engagements he does just aren't going to look good. So now the lane just looks kind of funky. It actually makes the Lion support really effective. The axe, but actually he's just dead, I think.
Probably a little bit of him that's like, well, at least I'll have my mana back. But obviously still, definitely for VP and for DM there, Tide getting that first blood bonus.
He went to go start the pull. He thought his opponent's going to semi-disc, but then Tide just turns and catches. Easier down at that point. If he has cogs, yeah, he can keep himself alive, but no mana from him. So for now, the courier brings a new Tango set to Luna and
save as well, blocking the spore camp. Any further chance for Empire to try and recover the lane position top. So Empire's cores are farming fine. It really is just mid lane where we are once again starting to see a really big difference. 25 and 8 against the 13 for 3 as K close to doubling that. Nice.
Did you hear that, Nova? He thought he was lying.
Catch him in battery at all costs, and Luna's damage output from range is excellent in this circumstance. Maybe can't attack through the cogs necessarily, but despite all this, Tide's still last hitting really well. 28 last hits for him compared to the 23 of Luna. They're gonna go on him actually. It's a big wave for those a little hard. This is great. Push the creep away. Now that he's taking full damage.
Well, the stick charges, but your DM's getting very low, and they'll be able to get the kill. Now finding some perfect position there for Fox.
He really did. It looked a little iffy because there's so many creeps there, but like you said, and in this whole time, Luna's right-clicking, Fox right clicking, and they get that bonus damage. So that's a big kill that I don't think they expected to happen here. Going simple, fight this game, and the pipe.
Nightfall. Try and jump in, but won't be able to lock down onto saves. That's available. And sure, thank you for his full commit on right now.
Well, last well, Max is sitting at 27 versus sitting at 31, but the big disparity is still going to come from the mid lane. In some ways, we've seen the support thrown, but I think it just clearly doesn't matter. GK could get a kill with a support, but he's also just beating his opponent by sticking mid here by himself. So, the one thing that's going to change things is obviously Void Spirit is much better at getting monkeying is. I'm in trouble though.
To drop, step up, get the call. Burn it from Spirits, bringing Kings down. Should take out to the Battle Hunger, and he will. He'll fall, but now the response is there from GPK. Gonna head towards save. Gonna maybe do something to Sharon. Boundless already being used. That level 1 job. I have a chance to chase down. Anything else here?
Line picks up the DD at the top.
Radiant
Faded over, so no DD. Which would have been huge right now. Kills his bottle, can use that to with astral stats. So really big play by Save there. In the Monkey King was up in the mid lane. So
we might cover them in.
They're gonna try.
Got off lockdown, but they do. They'll be able to find him. That, as you said,
and the boots.
Look at the difference.
They killed the curve on it. So cool.
I mean, that was. They knew that GPK was coming back out. They hit him with the scan, so they knew that it was by a small camp. I guess was quite prepared for him to come sort of about 10 seconds after the scan ended. Yeah, definitely an unfortunate pain. Definitely, as you say, Save getting over around that area, securing that opportunity.
It's possible they didn't communicate that he had Jinko Mastery, because that was the big difference. His fourth hit was the one that killed Phoenix. So he comes in and gets a huge boundless strike and a couple hits. Not for all that extra damage, or maybe long. He stays alive there. He would have taken a lot of damage, so by himself now.
Using more Zekna. try and run, but safe. It's got a bit of down. No, actually, just try. No, because it's not going to happen. GPK finishing him off very easily here with the 3 points in his boundless strike, and immediately down. Look how quick GPK is just moving across the map. He's straight down to here. The 2-guard will get caught off by the time for him to step back. They're going to dive back in. Got Smiling Knight down here. Smiling Knight does have the clips ready to go. Bounce. Down as the 2 of them. Smiling Knight still trying to chase in, and Gwynfly's coming in from the side. Looking to get the catch on the King's Slayer. Set up into the Lucent Beam. Bottom 1. Now diving in for 4. It turns towards Nightfall. Nightfall still gets to hit the... So it doesn't have to be raised over Reliant, but TM, he's in with the Ravage. Core sets up for the kill on the Gwyn. Now they're chasing. PK comes in from the side. He's not even using the Eclipse. No, it's not doing enough damage to bring any of these heroes down with him. As VP responds with numbers and will manage to come out for that trade there, holding on around their tower against a team. You know, Empire, they really tried to make something happen there, bringing the Looter in.
Yeah, I mean, it was good that Void Spirit goes in to get a kill there, but he was overextended by the end of the CM finally falling, and Look was tied teleporting in with enough for that fight to be completely one-sided. So, and in the meantime, Len got another stat. The low camp he roamed mid, he got some experience, and he's almost level 6. So it's an excellent position to be on line. Get the ulti up fast, and now your ganks just become even simpler. So, it's on Nightfall either. Network is just looking amazing. 4K advantage at 9 points is ridiculous.
And you like to put up as well this game on the mid King. He's just going to try this Deso online as soon as he can.
Sure. It's going to make his pressure a little bit easier. Like most of the time we see something like an Axe to accelerate your farming and stuff like that, but he's playing space creator. He's been in this constantly since he started being around the map. He's going for kills. Having minded armor against lower heroes like Phoenix or Clockwork is actually really effective. Might not be the best against like Luna type heroes, but right now it's a perfect circumstance. That's not my armor.
Start things on stage. He does have to dive. Nice. Tree of GPK. That's what GPK is able to hop off, continue to chase. He's trying to get out of the map. The sun. And he's going to get dragged straight back into the map. He can't escape yet. Another kill is granted for GPK.
Oh, bottom. No, he's got ulti.
He's so quick. So, I mean, we could pretty much just get the camera on GPK as he's finding every single bit of action. To bottom, no hesitations, no downtime at all for this Monkey King. 5-0, you know, being involved in 8 of 9 kills. It really is just the GPK go.
I really had that he was going to be able to roam effectively, but he's like doing some tops and material, going mid Monkey King, doing well in his lane, and then he's just moving around, dumpstering everyone else in the game. Clockwork is still not level 6 yet. The hero that stabilized the lane a little bit, but can't actually gank until he gets that picked up. And the rest of the heroes in the game are just trying to catch up. Luna's doing okay on net with the Master Menace. Yasha into Ags, but it's going to be a while until she feels really good in the fight here.
Pipe. Thanks to use their potential to go for a tower. Eknar on the side does find Seth. So he's trying to get his way out of the cogs. But he's not going to get out of this. Goes up, gets the kill. Over was mid. PK onto Tushra. This axe drive. They've got the Ravage out onto all the 3 of them. Bound to strike. Finishes off the axe. GPK cuts over towards the second. Tempted Gwyn. They take down Eknar. As it just too much of a to push into each time. He's got Ravage, and it's always going to be a recipe for disaster trying to fight into this tide underneath the tower.
I mean, it was perfect circumstances for Empire considering, though, right? Like Clock, the least farmed hero on his team, and killing the position here with a little help from the Void Spirit. But everything after that just got a little too clumped. The raw HP on the Virtus.Pro side is really high. The hood on Tide at this point, he loved to walk into an Eclipse at this phase of the game. He'd much rather eat it up over his ally. And it was also the fact that Monkey King was able to start things off, getting effectively 4 hits in on Axe. Axe does not have a Link Dagger yet. So Axe isn't able to be as effective a hero as Tidehunter is at this moment in time. And net worth and counting. So really hard game for Empire to take the fight, but they can get the tier 1 at least.
Top. They do have a DD on. Some good damage to set up. It's Nightfall. No ult for a few seconds. There's an any safety for the Nightfall taken out. Solid jump there with that smoke up on Gwyn. Catches him off guard. And time down. He is a lot. GPK is in upon it. And kills like this. I mean, GPK is that pretty much giving him death. So you're going to have this 12-minute death select to done Monkey King.
Be a lot of mine. Curiously, no orb of corrosion this game for the monkey. No orb of venom. He's just confident in his high movement speed. Fade really pays off in this way. He's just going to be than every other hero on the entire map. So see what he does with the Destiny now. -7 armor is like a 30% damage increase or something like that. He's maxed out his boundless strike levels really early to just try to maximize how much damage he can use. Good mastery stacks. Who's the next victim? That's what I'm curious about. He's not even farming these stacks. It was like a perfectly good 3-stack here that he could just kill instantly, but no. He wants to kill cores.
He wants blood. He wants blood. And he doesn't want to annoy his so I'm sure Nightfall's laying claim to those stacks with his Battle Fury. Also, his farm's going to continue to go up massively, and at a pace the Empire's going to struggle to deal with bottom. They're going to find and they go on spot at night. It's an easy kill. The egg will be far out of the range of anyone on the about that supernova. Empire deal with 4 heroes around here, but still so hard to get anything going against VP, especially GPK in the neighborhood.
There's nothing Luna can do in that circumstance. She's on strength treads. She's at max now that she could have more or less. But again, -7 armor from Desto and -4 armor from Gush. She just dies instantly. That's like 1 stun and she's going down. How can she play the front line? Somebody else has to do it, and Axe can't until he gets a Blink Dagger. His net worth is behind where it should be, probably, but we're just really seeing the net worth disparity. Very hard for Empire to fight as long as VP is in position, and they have been.
And all these kills and action that GPK has been finding, the level difference also really starting to add up. You know, level 12, this Monkey King just in the game. Level 10, you know, sort of clear 2 levels ahead of the side of Empire. Going for BK next. I mean, once GPK has that, Empire are going to struggle massively to take him down. It will be a long time until this Luna has any sort of serious physical punch to through a Monkey King, especially when he has the counts out.
And right side Empire still have their abilities ready, but so do their opponents. Ravage is still available, and Tide just finished the Blink Dagger. If they do get a decent catch or group a little bit too much, you're going to see a Ravage by Monkey. Oh, she almost catching it. That was really good. Don't know if they would have had enough damage. But
yeah, it would have been pretty deep if it'd gone in and got there was behind the tower.
Maybe some other follow-up, and okay, but very. Luna's maybe in the Yasha now. He's just going gems. He does Yasha coming. A little bit more movement speed, but still low HP.
Gwen, look for the kill on to save. Save by himself sometime and take him wrapped up. He's got to be careful how they go in on this. Simulate off to the side. Gwen, he's realized this is not an area for him to continue to go. Really do have to respect buying around DM.
He could have Ravage at any point, Blink Ravage, but he's just buying time. He knows that if his opponents don't take this tier 1, they can't farm the jungle, and on the opposite side of the map, Ursa getting literally everything he wants. Full Yasha finish after battle. His net worth is 3,000 head Luna has. One more item, he's going to be able to solo kill any hero on that attack.
No. Step in, he does have hook shot. He's tanked the tower. DH is going to come over the counter play, jump him with the Ravage to it. It's so cool. Getting him out to the side of the egg, and that will allow the supernova to go off. And the problem is they actually have combo to get kills. It doesn't look like it. They try and step forward. Nightfall's picked up triple. It was a great call, but he kept down, and as you can see, they just didn't have any take anyone down after hitting them with this cool and supernova stun.
But I think they used all the abilities on Empire really well, especially Phoenix diving to that tree line and dropping the egg. He knew the trees would get destroyed and he could catch Monkey, but GPK jumped on the ground in anticipation of it, and that fight still got a lot of his impact off in that fight. Most importantly, eventually throwing the stun and the Deso on the Luna, who gets burst down. So tried. It was fairly well executed, but the network disadvantage is really showing now. Nurse almost has twice the network of Luna at this moment.
getting rough. It's getting rough this game too. Arguably, rougher than game one was the timing, you say the number, you know, these matchups. VP, they're ready to get the smokes up. Roshan is, of course, very easy for them to take desserts lineup. Want to do so, have a desert. But got a lot of options there. VP can go for growth, they can go for kills. And pretty much do what they want right now. But the strength they have, Gwyn trying to here in the mid lane over the side save. He found the setup. Onto Katusha as he tries to get the was going to happen. The hook shot comes in from not to say except might go down here. So at least 5 to play it. But 2 arrows out, X as well to fall. And it's just enough trade. BP continue to come out and top and save. He doesn't want to wait that game. He's just going to buy back so he can continue to play.
I guess so. They're just happy tipping. He doesn't care. He's already got Blink Dagger. Like, actually,
he doesn't need anything else.
Mean much to him. Yeah. Not much at this point. Yeah. He's so upset. He just needs to initiate. He's the clearest guy that can initiate, catch any hero, and guarantee the Monkey King kills him afterwards. And that's actually an insane threat. He has huge mobility into his full kit. Blind test there to be able to play sort of close to Monkey, and Monkey effectively is terror plus the disable. So you're good to have save on the map still.
After the rest done.
Dire's top tower is under attack.
He's got ammo well onto his Empire, knowing that they're thrown back into this is to find some sort of big pick off. Keep trying to hit VP with smoke, see if they can catch them unprepared, but doesn't look to happen as VP very solidly is the full 5-man taking this tier 2 tower top. They'll start to sweep up her Empire. We'll see if they can find any sort of jump onto the backliners, but it's going to be very hard.
A lot of heroes right now. Axe Call's gonna be this big thing with Blink here. To grab like 2 heroes at least with good egg position. Block this in the backline.
Knife's just running instead. Have to step him away. Rukon's command down, edit trap onto the 3 of them. Sets up for X-Nut, completely ignored. DPK jumps over towards does find a call, they'll pop the Eclipse, but they just killed the Luna so damn quickly. And it's a team wipe. He cleared up every single member of Empire as it's only the CM Kingslayer for VP.
This was over. Knife played that fight perfectly. He ran up to the high ground when he's got Aegis, he's got range. There's almost nothing that he could run in that he's scared about. Even if he gets like called to Eclipse and he's got Aegis for it. What he does is he runs in the back line, follows the Phoenix. He just ran after him and then continued running at him. He knows that he doesn't need to participate in the fight because they're so far ahead. So he just kept zoning him and killing Phoenix over by the Roche pit. No egg popped, and it just made sure that the Monkey King is completely on pressure. There's like no big team fight swing that was going to protect the Luna.
Nuts. Got about yeah, but until he has that, he's still gonna have to sort of stand and miss these fights to get an opportunity for the Eclipse. He just dies quickly in the middle of Gwyn. Managed to jump out. I mean, Spike, Gwyn, they're running a lot of VP around. Really keep their distance and careful how they try and make the jump on them. He's been committed on, he'll buy back straight away. Hook shot attempted from it up. Katusha again onto DPK. He's still got the BKB. They take the power out immediately. Katusha will fall. It's a different state. I think cannot escape this, as we may just see a GXP drop soon, and there they are. The GG's is there. I will tap out of this one, 32-9, TK lead here in this game. So they'll take the series 2-0, and it looked pretty simple. This was, you know, no messing around for VP. Incredibly smooth stuff around just across the board from the series first.
Yeah, and it was a little different than the last game. Last game felt like they just executed really well. This one felt just like a complete outskill that GK just did whatever he wanted on the map. He dumpstered his lane.